Okay, so here we are in a different perspective, a different angle, which I have a feeling is going to make me look like a fat bird. Very exciting. Let's start with the first one, which we're going through right now, which is the Blue Robbie mic pre by Blue Microphones. It's a really beautiful pre. You can get it for much cheaper now. Reminds me of an Avalon a little bit. Great for pop music. Not too tubey. Actually kind of transparent with a little halo. Beautiful for background vocals, acoustic guitars, bass. It's really wonderful. I don't use it a ton, but I do use it on background vocals almost all the time and on poppy acoustic guitars. Anything that has a pop, clean sound with a little life to it, Blue Robbie's really great. You can get it for very cheap. And then here is the Hamtone J-Fet, which is probably, wow, my most versatile pre. I got it for a crime how much I paid for it. I still can't believe it to this day. Somewhere between a Neve and an API. It's never completely transparent, but you can really make it hairy and just thick with a lot of attitude, or you can make it almost transparent with just a little euphonic kind of sound. Probably the best pre I have to stack everything. If I only had one for a whole album, no matter what the genre, this might be it. I still can't believe that, but I'm saying that. And then these are much more colored, expensive, but wonderful pre's. There's a Universal Audio M610, made famous by Pet Sounds, Beach Boys, Van Halen 1, Frank Sinatra. I think The Doors, you can see that it has a real gorgeous sound. My favorite mic pre for acoustic guitars, electric guitars. For bass, most people adore it. To me, it's hit or miss on vocals. It just distorts really easily, but can be very, very pretty on like a ballad with not a lot of dynamic jumping around. Really wonderful. And then the last one is my favorite pre of all time. I will run with it through a fire, is the Mercury M72. It is a clone of the Telefunken V72, which, you know, all the Beatles stuff everyone knows. It's just enormous sounding, but still has clarity, unbelievable low mid. It is the vocal for the studio. Sometimes I use different mic pre's for vocals, but this is just the greatest vocal mic pre. Incredible on bass, really incredible on anything, but I typically run all my vocals through it. If you have a client coming over and you need a great vocal chain, it starts with the M72. All of them would work and actually do a great job, but the Mercury is the bomb. And then let's come on over here to the compressors, and we'll talk about my favorite piece of gear. And if we come over here to the compressors, there was one of my first episodes we talked about the LA3A, and that's what we have here, and it is my favorite piece of kit. And it's weird that it's a compressor, but it just makes everything a little bit better, even if there's not gain reduction. Bass, vocals, guitars, some percussion. Keep away from it for drums, but virtually anything else, strings. I tried to trombone through it. It sounded unbelievable. LA3A, my favorite tracking compressor, probably 70 to 80% of the time. Under that, we have the DBX 160 XT, which the DBX 160 became famous in the 70s. Incredible sounding, very kind of dirty, but kick and snare, set it and forget it. And that's what this is great for, too. I also think it's obviously great on bass, but actually as a cheaper vocal compressor, if you just touch it, 2, 3 dB, it can thicken it up and really make it sound nice. Any more than that, it starts to sound like garbage. Underneath that is my pride and joy. I still can't believe I have this. It is the Joe Meek SC2 1.05 version, the very first. I think there was just a couple hundred of those first ones made. So hard to describe, but incredible. On bass, it gives a buoyancy I've never heard before in another compressor. Very hard to describe. The retro chain would be the Universal Audio M610 through the Joe Meek, and it's instant 60s and 70s, which makes me very happy. So that's the Meek. I love it. And then underneath that, the venerable 1176 Blue Stripe. It is not an original. Wish I had a $10,000 one. But it's wonderful. It sounds like 1176. It's got that edge, that masculinity, urgency. The Blue Stripe is a little thicker sounding than the Black Stripe or Silver. So something to think about. But you can get these clones anywhere. Purple Audio makes a great clone. Again, this is from Hairball Audio. Really, really nice. Great for rock vocals. Not a big fan of the 1176 on guitars and bass. I know. You start throwing stuff at me. I like the bass to have a little more buoyancy and movement. And a lot of electric guitars are already compressed, so I don't think it needs that hyperness. But on vocals and drums, shake it like the bad guy. Thank you for joining us today. Again, the most important thing is talent. And then for me personally, I think it's the mic pre, then the mic, then the tracking compressor. Great friend of mine and super talented composer, producer, Greg Callenber. told me when he got his 6176 Universal Audio, he sent the 57 through it. He said he just couldn't believe how great it sounded. On the flip side, you can take a $20,000 M49, put it through a Radio Shack mic pre, and it'll sound horrible. So there you have it. Just wanted to let you in a little bit and kind of see what's going on here. Again, this is a composer studio, so I don't really do drums. I do 1 or 2 tracks at a time. If there's a string quartet, group vocals, drum set, you got to go someplace else. But as far as tracking guitars, keyboards, single vocals, tons of stuff, 80–90% I can do it all here through my pre's and tracking compressor. So thanks for joining us today. Can you tell I love gear? It was gear day. Can you tell I love gear? Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kyle Querec. It's Music Minded. Have a great day.